Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Dolel Ndawyi. My name is Modu Mukhtar Jala and I'll be your host today. If you're just joining us, this is all about discussing or providing a platform for young Gambians to come and showcase what they're doing to inspire their communities, to inspire change. The idea is that if any community should develop, people must have role models that they can relate to, people who live next to them, people who understand the struggles that they're facing. Because we believe if Gambians were them to kind of we have to be the one responsible to drive it that way. So as usual, today also I'll be alone in the studio. Senna will not join me, but notwithstanding, we are going with the traditional way of doing the show. On the What's Hot, we are going to discuss about the death of John Magufuli, and then we are going to discuss about the Gambia qualifying for the AFCON, as well as UDP, has opened the bid for the flag bearer of the UDP that anybody can apply and get in there. And if time permits, we're going to discuss about ST's song. It's called Kodo Be Kodo. The song has finally hit 1 million views yesterday. And obviously, if you're joining us, you definitely know last week we couldn't have this show based on technical problems. But we are glad to be back. And thank you guys so much for being here with us. Thank you so much for choosing the Dolel Ndawyi. Thank you so much for being here. It's on our 11th episode. But today, before we go further, I would want to introduce my guest and equally tell you guys that, unlike the usual way of doing the show, this show is pre-recorded this time around. Fatou, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Matra. Thank you so much for having me and the entire crew at Dolel Ndawyi. I am very much honored and glad to be in this platform. To be honest, I will have to say I have been speaking in different platforms, but it really looks different to speak on a platform that really represent my home because everybody there is something that represents you and identity is very very important. And my name is Fatou Hydra from the Gambia, born in Brikama, and I'm an NGO founder, speaker on social impact, leadership, and access to quality education. I'm definitely honored to be here and look forward to having this amazing conversation with you.
The honor is all ours. For the fact that you chose to accept to be with us here on the show, and for the fact that you decided that you want to be with us on our final series of International Women's Day, because that was the main idea. We said, you know what, we must have Fatou on the show. And despite the hurdles, no, we are the one we are honored, truly. We are the ones who are honored. And it's unfortunate Senna could not be here with us, but she also sends, because the production is always done by the two of us. We have to draw questions and all of that.
Yeah.
But without further ado, even though you gave us a brief history of who Fatou is, I will still ask you the traditional question we ask: who is Fatou? You talked about that you hail from the Kama, obviously,
Yeah.
and then you talked about the fact that you are you love volunteering and the activities that you're doing.
Mhm.
But how did it all start? How did volunteering, how did community work all started with your life?
I mean, Musha, this is a very, very wonderful question. And for me, it's like it has been something in me for so long. I really love helping people. I really love giving handout to something. I never wanted to be somebody who is always a consumer to receive something. I always want to give something in return. So it's like everybody have a responsibility where you are. Like it could be in the school. You can look into something that you might find in your community. It should not always have to be problems. You can look into something and volunteer for that cause, introduce strategies, be a role model to people in our society. For me, where the motivation started was I came from a community whereby it's a very loving community. Everybody love each other. But the problem that we have, I couldn't look into one person and say this person is a role model. There came a time that I said one guy in my area is a pilot. And that was like surprising to me. I was like, wow, Gambian a pilot and somebody next door to me. So he became an inspiration to me. His name is Buba Jame, so I think many people might be familiar to him. But that is not female that I can say has inspired me in that community to be who I am. So I had to get out from the community and then create something so that the next people that will come in line to see us doing something that they can also follow in line with. You can go to school, you can get decent degrees, but there are other things that you can also work in for without not expecting to be paid. But those things that people can see, I came to a point that now, if somebody commented on my post on Facebook and be like, oh, you look beautiful, I'm like, thank you. But if somebody wrote to me and said, oh, thank you for doing what you're doing. It really inspires me. I feel honored and joyful. Like there's something that I'm doing which is really inspiring somebody. So for me, what I will say is like, don't just always sit down and feel like you have nothing that you can offer. There is something in you that somebody's always wanted something from that. You have a story that can inspire somebody. So don't always be there and feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing something that is useful. You're using a social media. You have secret friends that you never know. Sometimes you'll be doing things on social media, they will not comment on it. When you stop, they'll be like, oh, I have been liking this you're doing, but now you're not doing it. So we have to use our social media to spread important informations. If we are to talk about politics, if we are to talk about education, if we are to talk about anything, let's make sure it's something that really gonna educate people. For example, me, I use my social media, for example, Facebook, Instagram. I want soon as somebody up on my platform, already you should know who I am, because that's how I wanted to present it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, we will talk about the social media, which I know plays a huge role, or crucial. It's very important to you. It's very dear to you because of how you think it dictates or tells about your life as well as inspire other people. But let's talk about one thing that also makes us come to you to be our guest on the show. We saw that you're doing a lot of amazing stuff, but then you're doing it also whilst you're being an international student in Morocco, which we know, based on our experience, which we think is the same experience you share because all of us students, it's never easy. No matter where you are in the world as an international student, it's never easy. Yet you're achieving all the things you're doing with your foundation, which we were talking about. How has education in Morocco shaped your life?
Well, I'm very, very much emotional about this one. Yeah, because I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be an international student anywhere you are. But I will say, my decision to travel to Morocco, first of all, it was not my decision. It was my dad's decision. Because I graduated high school, I went to American University, and my dad was like, oh, I think you should travel outside and study. I was like, no, I want to go to America. He was like, oh, you can try. I applied for the US visa 3 times, I was rejected. I was like, well, oh man, this can wait. 2014, I got scholarship at Asian University in in Taiwan. I got a full scholarship, and I had to travel all the way to Burkina Faso to apply for the visa because there was no embassy in the Gambia at that time. I traveled to Burkina Faso, and this was all paid by my dad on the flight ticket and everything because the scholarship is not responsible for that. Reaching out Burkina Faso, they told me that there is somebody who's supposed to host me at the airport. I can't speak French, I can't speak anything. Immediately arriving at the airport, the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't come to the airport. I'm very far from the airport. I was like, but wow, you did say you will pick me up at the airport, and now what happened? I was standing at the airport. I don't know what to do. I can't communicate. And at that time, I was very young, in 2014, somewhere 18, 19. I don't know my way around. I was standing. There comes this lady. She tried to speak English to me. Her name is Abidata. We still like a family. And she started talking to me. The English was not very good. I can't say nothing in French. And she asked me, what is my mission here? I tried to talk to her. What happened? Her dad happens to be a Gambian. And she is working at the National Assembly in Burkina Faso. So I was like, I'm going to this hotel in Ouagadougou Mill, and she was like, don't worry, you can just sleep one night at the hotel, and then you can cancel your booking, I'll host you. She hosts me, and that day, I was learning in every situation that I found myself in. It was discouraging, devastated, I don't know what to do, and my family back home, they were worried about me. The morning I went to the embassy, and the embassy told me, as a Gambian citizen, I have to fly all the way to Nigeria to apply for visa, not in Burkina Faso. So I was misdirected. I was like, this is like a waste of time, you know? So, I was like, this is like a waste of time. And then I contacted my primary school teacher, George Sambu. He was the one who helped me to get a scholarship. He gave me all the links. I was like, things are not going well. So he was like, calm down, you know. I also tried in any situation I am not to lose myself because it's very important.
Sure.
Yeah. So what I did was like, I contacted my dad. I said, this is the situation here. So I flew to Nigeria now. He was like, okay, let me book another ticket to travel to Nigeria. But the circumstances there was, if I travel to Nigeria at that time, there is Ebola. So if I make it to Nigeria, I won't come back.
Well, pretty much hot soup or
Yeah.
messed up soup if I can
Exactly. So I couldn't proceed to Nigeria. And what I did was now to go back to Gambia. So reaching into Gambia now, I was late. I can't make the scholarship. I contacted the school. I was like, this is the situation. I can't make it to this quarter. Would it be possible to defer the semester, the next semester coming until the situation is a little bit controlled? They were like, Miss Hydra, we're sorry, but the scholarship will be cancelled, and then we know.
After everything you went through.
Yeah, after everything we went through, I lose the scholarship.
Wow.
You see? So now I have to come back to Gambia and start zero. I was like, now going back to American University again, the feeling was never there. It was not there. I went back to Brigham Hospital because I did some courses in pharmacy and things like that. I started volunteering at the hospital for 1 year, 6 months. I was volunteering at Brigham Hospital with no pay. I was just giving a service. I was working extra harder. And any society that I am, people likes me a lot because that's who I am. I want to introduce something to where I am, that people should not be scared to each other, honesty, trust. And one thing about it, this is not me talking good about myself, but I'm very disciplined. Yeah, I'm very, very disciplined, and that helps me a lot. With all that struggles, what I learned from my trip in Burkina Faso and that gap that I have between 2013, 14, 15 was like a transformation moment for me. I switched my lifestyle. I started researching more. I started reading more. I started connecting with people more. I was like, English alone cannot save me. I need a different language. So my dad was like, oh, my friend Dora studied in Morocco and she's doing good. I think you should go to Morocco. I was like, but I can't speak French. He was like, that's the best thing about it. He was like, do you want to apply for scholarship? I said, I think that's late. He said, okay, don't worry. I will pay for your school in Morocco. So he found a school. He paid my school fees and everything I made here. It was like, no matter how expensive it is, I want you to pursue a higher education because it's very important for women to be financially stable in the society. So that was something that I had in me for quite a long time. I was like, if I made it to Morocco, this is now my first choice. But I will make sure that I transform myself to a way that if you know me a few years ago, you will not recognize me. Because as a human being, there is one thing that God gave you. Change. You can change yourself right now. And nobody will recognize who you are in a good way. That's something that we have because we are human beings. We can create something out of nothing. So coming to Morocco, I would say this has been a turning point for me. It changed my life completely. I become more aware of human beings. I live with so many people. At the beginning, I was living with the English-speaking people. I changed my location to live with people that only speak French. From Ivory Coast, I have some good friends from Ivory Coast. I'm very curious about different people, different cultures, different lifestyle. I wanted to endure pain a lot. So starting a non-profit in 2017, while I was going through all the struggle in Morocco and going to school, it was hard.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so but that makes it interesting because if it's easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
So that pain that I endured is like a discipline for me. For me, just getting a university degree was not gonna save me because it's like back then, if you have a high school degree, it means you are somebody great. Before, if you get a bachelor's degree, it's like wow. But now a bachelor's degree is just like a high school degree.
Sure.
Yeah, for me, I'm not just comfortable just getting a university degree. I also was learning how can I put my technical knowledge into real life. I try to develop my communication skills, reading books. I have read 102 books recently. Yeah, and I developed 2,000 new words. Every day I'm writing something. I said before 2018, I'm gonna build an international organization whereby I will form it with people in different countries. I start reaching out to people on social media. I built the office online even before Zoom was a thing. We start working online. I would send my constitution to somebody. I was like, this is the idea I have. Can you look into this? Can we make it something? And what do you think we can make it for? And they'll be like, this is a cool idea. I was like, cool, let's work together. We found the NGO. At the beginning, the idea was there, but the idea keeps changing. As we go into it, we come in with new ideas. Before end of 2018, I was like, now I have to travel to the world. I start traveling to Dubai, Egypt, different locations, and I've been meeting people, expanding my network, sharing my knowledge with other people, who I am and where I'm from, and then try to connect with all those other peoples also and make it one. I was like, now we're going to do education promotion program for parents in Gambia and Young African Leaders Awards, and we're going to host it in Gambia at first. But I was not doing this alone. It was hard, but I have people that we are working with. But hadn't been, I just sit in one place, would I be able to get those people?
No.
It's about starting something. If you start something, people wanted to know what you're doing and they wanted to work with you to make it something fruitful and for everybody. The reason why we come with the education promotion program for parents is because I feel like parents are lacking when it comes to education of their children. Because what they do is like teachers alone cannot do it. So parents have to be involved. We have to make them understand that what their role in assisting their child in education. So what I did was to get people from Congo Brazzaville, from different countries whom they face some due to civil war, they have some educational crisis, and then now they make it to big universities in the world to bring them to Gambia to share their stories to the parents in the villages, so they can give them courage to really encourage their kids to get good education. So that was the main mission behind it. We organizing this event in 2019. That was the same time I was sitting for my final exam at the university. I was doing my research, writing my memoir, something your memoir, how do you say it in English? Thesis, right?
Thesis, yeah.
I was writing this, and then I decided I will be working. That's why I'm used to this. I'll be working from, let me say, I don't sleep much at night. I'll be like, I'm a night worker. I'll be working all the way to morning.
I spoke with your host, and
Yeah.
they told me about it.
Yeah.
Let me go to one thing.
Yeah.
One thing that has fascinated me about, since I know you for the past 4 months, is
Yeah.
that despite the fact that you're in Morocco, despite the fact that you started the foundation,
Yeah.
in fact, let's talk about the foundation before we talk about all of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You talked about you wanted to build something, a non-profit, and Alhamdulillah today you've done it.
Yeah.
And then you said you wanted to do it with people across the world.
Yeah. Diversity.
I
very
knew
important.
you to one of the people that you're working with, who's not in fact a Gambia, right? Zama.
Zama, yeah.
Zama.
Perfect.
Well, if you're watching,
Yeah.
hello. So,
Yeah.
but one thing that has always fascinated me about everything you've done is you are never concentrated only about staying in Morocco.
Yeah.
You can do your virtual stuff with people across the world.
Yeah.
But when it comes to physical stuff or physical activity, you're mainly focused in the Gambia.
Yeah.
Why is Gambia so important to you?
Well, everything you have to do, environment is very important. I mean, we are working on huge programs. Even all these projects, whatever we do, I was like, Gambia have to come first. This is where I know. I can talk about Gambia more than Nigeria. I can talk about Gambia more than the other country. So that's why it really motivates me the time that we organized the Young African Leaders Awards to bring those 30 influential people to Gambia, and Dolel Ndawyi, the former National Youth Council Executive Director, and Alaji, the program manager at that time. These people were really helpful the time that I come with this idea to them. Speaking for the first time, they make sure that this event was really successful and really help us to make it one of a kind. So that tells you that home support is number one thing. Hadn't been the beginning of that event we hosted in a different country, the support that we get would be different. So everything needs to have a root. That's really important, because even registering the organization, we registered this in Gambia. It was like, oh, we can register in New York because we have the chance. We can do it in Morocco. It was like, how about we register in Gambia? And everything happens smooth. So what I wanted to do was like my sisters and brothers that are in Gambia that feels like they really lose hope in themselves. I was doing for a girl who feels that the world is locked on them. So if you see somebody like me doing something like this, would really encourage them to really do extra harder and have the feeling that it doesn't only ends in Gambia. You are from this country, but you can network expand across the continent. So that was the motivation behind it.
So African youth architects,
Yeah.
right? I think I pronounced it
Architects,
right.
yeah.
Architects.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a brief history about it. You've already mentioned that you formed a big across the world.
Yeah.
What is your major aim and objective? What are you guys focused on?
African Youth Architects,
Because the reason I asked that is
Yeah.
because a lot of people when they hear like, is it an architectural group?
yeah.
And in what sense?
Yeah,
In the literal
that's-
sense or in the original sense that
Yeah.
you're architects?
Yeah, because people even ask me at the beginning, like, oh, why you named African Youth Architects? Are you guys building houses and things like that? I was like, I wanted to call it African Youth Architects. The name was formed one night. We were thinking about names that we're gonna do to make the thing. I was like, the name will come. Let's develop the concept. So African Youth Architects, when you think about architects, what an architects do? Architects, they design things. They make the cities look beautiful. They predict the future. So we wanted to design how young people in Africa should think, how they can put their ideas into something. So the mission for it was to work with ministries of education in line with their education curriculum and to really invest in education to make sure that the kids in Africa have access to high quality education with resources, and also provide resources to young entrepreneurs in Africa to endeavor their businesses. So this is a mission behind our entire activity. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, like I said. And then I've gotten to learn a lot. It's unfortunate right now that the website is down.
Yeah, we working on it.
Which people would have loved, because that was the first impression I gave. Like,
Yeah.
I have in love with your
Website, yeah.
But then that is the same way that you have a pretty much interesting Facebook page, and then you have a pretty much interesting, Instagram account.
Yeah.
Before we go to the break, let's talk about how COVID-19 has affected, your work for the past 1 year.
Yeah.
And then after the break, we're going to talk about, in general, your work on education,
Okay.
your motivation on education, and as well as the awards that you've mentioned earlier on.
Okay.
So, to the question,
Yeah.
on
The COVID-19.
COVID-19.
Oh yeah, COVID-19 really interrupts many things for us because it comes unexpected. We were supposed to host our second edition of Young African Leaders Awards in Morocco here. We're supposed to be September 2020, but we couldn't host it due to the virus. So we had to cancel that event. We are still thinking of redoing the event again. So which it really interrupts a lot. But at the same time, we were quick to learn if a crisis come like this, what can we do? So one thing it doesn't affect was like we were used to working online because that's where our office, everything was in different locations. So we have to think and strategize like what can we do? Do we have to go back to our mission and change the mission to something else? And we did that. We were like, if we wanted to stick onto the traditional way of our mission, the way COVID-19 has come now, things are going to be changed rapidly. So we have to be consistently looking for new things and changing how we think when it comes to our courses because so many things have changed. Yeah.
So, one thing also that strikes me or that I love a lot about is a lot of times you have young people who want to create something, right?
Yeah.
They want to create something, but they will like, I'm gonna wait for resources, I'm gonna wait to get an office, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you did something that I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it exists,
Yeah.
but I've never heard of anybody who like, I'm gonna found this and then our office will be virtual.
Yeah.
That is a pretty bold step, and I
Yeah.
will commend you for it. I think it's very, very great.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a small break on this point to talk about the WhatsApp topics. You guys can equally send in your comments. As I said, it's a pre-recorded show. We are gonna read highlight all your comments on the next episode by next Monday, inshallah, where we're talking to our guest. I feel like telling you guys what the guest is, but let's see if I will give you the name of the guest for the next episode by the end of this. So stick around. I would engage you on this WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I just suggested a general idea of the death of the president of Tanzania.
Yeah.
He's been criticized by the West a lot, but Pan-Africanists or African people of African his countrymen have always praised that he was doing an amazing work. For the very fact that I know for me personally when he came into power earlier on, I was among those people who praised him a lot for for the many things that he was doing. For example, he stopped all of his people going to this UN program because to me also I think it's a waste of money and it's just for African countries for these government officials or let's say the ministers to be traveling all the way there. His main justification was that you have embassies in these countries. Why can't they represent the country?
Yeah,
You see,
yeah.
fly around. So I just wanted to. I believe that he lived a very meaningful life.
Yeah.
I think he was a very inspiration to a lot of Africans and maybe to a lot of African leaders. And currently Tanzania is having a female as a president.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
which
a
is
good
awesome.
time
It
for
is
women.
awesome, you know.
Yeah,
It is
it's a
awesome.
good time for women.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true because I think I like that concept. We have embassies in different countries. So those embassies are our presidents in all of those countries. So sometimes I don't see the need to say it. I see this in Gambia happen sometimes. They said, oh, we're going for diaspora tour, whereby we introducing something to diaspora. Your embassy can do that instead of wasting their resources. So I think that's something really good. I mean, most of the time, African leaders that are really doing good in their countries, I have to say it's not all the time that what you're doing somebody will feel offended with what you're doing. But if the majority feels that the person is doing good, I think sometimes that's what is important. We still have a long way to go when it comes to Africa being stable and our leaders, but we're getting there.
I definitely agree. And speaking of Africa, Gambia is finally qualified for the first time to play in the AFCON. The senior team, obviously, senior Scorpions. We want to use this opportunity to say congratulations, and then to the people of Tanzania and to Africans, we are saying please accept our condolences for the death of John Magufuli. And then we are wishing everybody the very best in Tanzania with your new president. She started with good trends. We hope she continues. And to the Gambian Scorpions, since we do not have time, we just want to say bravo to the team, bravo to the Gambia for the support, and let's go and kick some, in Cameroon by next year, inshallah. Let's come back to the show, Hydra. We talked about we were talking about the foundation, right?
Yeah.
And one of the activities among the few that you've done into the Gambia, because most of them are virtual.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we just started the virtual.
But you are engaging people to do action, take action in their countries, which is the awesome thing I love about it. But let's talk about the awards.
Yeah.
You were engaged in the first ever award that I saw the prize and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you're going to recognize Gambians or people in the West African or Africa in itself doing amazing work. First of all, congratulations on that, right?
Thank you.
And first, another thing also, congratulations for being nominated among the top 20 education feature leaders and all of that. I think that's the name of the award.
Yeah.
But let's use that also and say congratulations for that.
Thank you.
The award.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so important to recognize other people?
Well, the award was really, really one of the best things that we could have done because since I started working in a non-profit where you work and not expect to be paid, and the times that I spent it, the work, the hard work, resource information, the human capital, you have come to realize that this is hard job. Sometimes people don't even consider that you are doing anything. I could say this. I was in Gambia, if I take my life, what is he doing? You should start applying jobs and things like that. And after working in a non-profit for like 2 years, I was like, these people that are working in this non-profit, they're giving books to children, they really volunteering in their community environment and everything. These people are hard workers and they deserve to be recognized. It came through a chat. I was saying this to Usman Jeddah, which is a Gambian. I was like, I really wanted to do something for young people in Africa that are really volunteering, and then to make them feel like what they are doing is really worth it, so that can send message to other peoples to also take into the same action if they see that these people are really being well celebrated. So I make a research in Africa, like what type of awards they are given to young people. I came across, I've been seeing medals that are just having African maps on them, things like that. I still have those in my phone just to look through it and motivate myself. And then I see with Imamsi, I was like, look, this is the awards that they are given to these young people in Africa, and is it even up to something? And sometimes I will see these glasses, the way they frame it. I was like, yo, let's come up with something. Let's make sure that these people understand that they are worth it. Let's put them in a platform whereby people can be inspired by them. And if we honor them, they can be popular in certain way that they can get sponsors in the activities that they are doing. So that brings our entrepreneur side of it. We can bring incubators, business people to really invest in what they're doing, to really promote them in the continent of Africa. So if another person see that, they're like, oh, this is something good. I might also step into this and work to serve my community. So we say, let's design the Young African Leaders Awards to honor these people. And then we plan to give cash prizes, but that will come to invest in their different projects that they have been doing. And we make sure that after honoring them, we really build that relationship. We start talking to companies, factories to design trophies for us, and to really symbolize our trophy in a way that it's really gonna look something very, very expensive. We spend $1,000 something on an individual trophy just to honor a change maker in Africa. We just don't want to give you just a medal and that's it. We want something that will have class and you can hold it anywhere that you go. So that was really the motivation behind it, to make sure that somebody feel they are honored and their work is really well deserved to the world.
And yeah, I think the audience will agree, because as you were talking, we were, rolling down the photos of the awards and then the things that you've been doing. I think it's a lot of initiative. I know you have plans to continue COVID.
And let me tell you, we hosted that award without not even having money. We don't get no corporate sponsor for that award. One thing I believe is like, you don't have to get the money to start something. We are like risk takers. We organized the entire event, we contacted the factories, and then we start paying everything with our own money. With our own money. The trophies were designed $1,000+ for an individual. People were like, wow, we want to go hard for this. It's like an entrepreneur, you invest.
Wow.
You might lose and you might win.
Yeah.
And then we organized everything. The first sponsor that came to us was Pan-African Youth Organization. They were like, okay, we're gonna sponsor all the flight tickets. They sponsor all our flight tickets to Gambia, and then National Youth Council really stood up. They make sure that our guests sleep in a fancy hotel to provide us transportation from airport in and out. And Lamindabo makes sure that the people that need visas from the US, from Egypt or anywhere to get visas on arrival. So the support system and the relationship that it builds between me and the immigration department in Gambia, it was really, really lovely. I was like, we could have done this long time. There was no corporate sponsor, no big money on it, all our money. I run broke on it, but it's worth it.
Wow.
Yeah, I just want to see somebody smile.
And the fact that you did all of this, because to me, okay, I've known about.
And I was going to school at the same time.
That's what I'm saying.
I was sick.
That's what I'm saying. Like you by far, you're my favorite. You're my favorite most strong person right now that I know.
Thank you, Batar. I'm honored. Thank you.
I've had respect for you since then, and then right now it has increased a lot more. For the fact that right now I can really relate somehow about the challenges you face. But the fact that all of this happened and you're still motivated to do it again says a lot more about you. But education. I know you forced, like you said even in the intro, you're so much focused on education for many reasons, right? And then one of them is also, one of the ways you're tackling this, them in school and as kids, but as parents, it's your responsibility, you have a responsibility. Where does, how does this come to you, or if I may put the question this way, why do you feel it is so important that parents participate? Because to me personally, I know a lot of other Gambians who are probably from educated parents or come
Yeah.
from educated parents.
Mhm.
My parents, I can tell you, my dad or my mom do not know whether a classroom is round or square or circle.
Yeah.
They don't, because
Same.
they've never in fact come to my school. If
Mhm.
there is a PTA meeting, you're sending my sisters
Mhm.
or new students. See, if you know you did something bad, you just go up to the state.
Yeah.
Like to say, Ben bro, or
Mhm.
sister,
Mhm.
sister, they remember that has school. We don't know when they small level.
Yeah.
Why do you think it is so important that parents participate in the education of their children? And how are you going about, or what are the proposals you're putting in place that this can be achieved?
Mata, education is something that in my house we don't play about education. My
Mhm.
dad is really much into it.
Mm.
He's definitely into it. My mom did not go to school,
Mm.
but my dad was very, very well educated.
Mm.
He speaks, I think, 18 plus languages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my dad speaks 18 plus languages.
Wow.
And then he travels around the world a lot. There is no religions in the world that my dad didn't study. If he preached in Christianity, you would think he's a Christian. If he
Wow.
preached in Buddhism, you think he's, yeah, he is somebody that always is in search of knowledge.
Mm.
5 years ago, he gave me a book. This book is costing 40,000 Gambian dollars. You can search in Amazon. Only one copy is remaining. It's costing 768 US dollars, all in French. I was like, why are you giving me this book? He said, I want you to understand that education is not cheap, and it's only not in classroom.
Mm.
If you ask my dad for money, he will ask you what you're going to do for it. But if I could remember in 2015, 2008, 9 something, he was in Germany. If you ask my dad for money, he would not. But if you ask for a book, he will send packets of books to you.
Wow.
So if you pass an exam, you get like 4th, 2nd, 3rd, 3rd, he opens a bank account and put money for you there. So it has become a competition in our house.
Wow.
So if you come with your results, my dad have to make sure that he knows who is teaching you.
Mm.
So hadn't been, I don't have somebody who was involved in my education that much, I will not know the value of it.
Mm.
So even today, my dad would advise me, if you guys are working on education activities, make sure you introduce moral and social, because this is lacking a lot. And also when you're doing a project, make sure the leader of that project is somebody, or even it's going to be a parent, is a parent whose child is doing something good for themselves through education, and the parent is benefiting from it. That time the parent will value the education of it. So parents' involvement is really important, because they will know the importance of education and what that can lead them. So my dad always tell me that going to school alone is not enough, because going to school to get the education there is to lighten in your mind, to know what you wanted to do next. So I don't only stay at getting what the teachers have been giving me. I have been researching a lot. I read a lot. I always talk to people, and then I observe my environment a lot. So education is really important, and having parents to involve, that also this assistance from home is very important, because the child will understand that it's not just at school, but also at home. My parents know why this is important. So that's why the involvement of parents is really important in education system.
I think that is awesome, and I commend you for all the things that you're doing. I think you're doing an amazing work. We just want to ask one more question,
Yeah.
maybe before we conclude. Apart from the COVID challenges that you're facing, Mama is actually proposing this question.
Okay.
Apart from the challenges of COVID, what other challenges do you face? And school, obviously. What other challenges are there that you're facing with your foundation and in your advocacy for people who have better access to education and to better their lives as young people?
Well, if I'm to understand your question properly, I mean, I won't say the challenges are too much, because if you COVID-19 is here to stay, we don't know when it's going. So if you stay and think when it's going to go, that will drain you. So instead of we staying into that concept, we're thinking what we could do next. So we walking. It's hard right now, but we are working extra harder. Sitting still in one place and working every day. I think the hardest part of my work, I would say, is talking to people constantly. Sometimes I would just eat something that will make it fast just to get it done, so I can get back to the screen again and write it and send it to somebody else. So I would say the challenges are not too much, because the team is very I can say we're very risk takers and innovative. Nothing really scared us. We will just say it will be happening and don't bad, but we will learn from it. But one thing I learned is always like I don't have to be expert to start it, but once I start, I have to be an expert to finish it. That's one thing about me. If we do something, we do it perfectly. Yeah.
So to conclude, I'll ask you to give your concluding statements, obviously.
Okay.
But let me again, you're doing an amazing work, like I said, and I'm always inspired. But I'm very sure that other people who are watching this and then they're motivated to do more.
Yeah.
What will you advise them?
Well, my advice would be if you take the traditional route, you might be waiting because the jobs are very few now. You can create your own platform and then people will come to you. You can be a journalist today, have your own social media platform, talk about something that really interests you. You don't have to be an expert to start that. You started, you learn more and really educate yourself a lot and create something for yourself. Right now, you can unlock anything for yourself. There is nothing that can keep you. Traveling the world before was hard, but now you can travel anywhere that you want to when you have the resources in you. You are your own resources, and the human capital is the number one thing in everything that you do. So I would just say don't sit back there and then feel like the jobs are not there. People are not recognizing what I'm doing. Create it for yourself. Connect with people, network. The social media is there for you. You can send messages to anybody. Introduce your ideas to people. If people are not listening to you, create your own TV. Talk to yourself, do something creative. People will come to you, and that's it.
Be like us.
Yeah.
The Zoom,
You're
improvising all the way out. And
that's
then,
it. Because people don't care about how you started. It's the results. It's the results that will speak for you. They don't care how you get it done. They just want to see the results. So when you believe in something, at the beginning, it's not people's responsibility to believe in your vision. God has given that vision to you alone. So you have to work it harder and then make the results speak for itself. That's all I think. That works for me. I'm sorry if I'm not able to motivate people that much, but that's it.
I don't know of the audience, but
Yeah.
I am very sure they will be, because personally, like I said, you've always motivated me in most of the things that we've discussed earlier or before.
Yeah.
And the fact that today I'm learning something new, I thought I knew most of the things I wanted to know about you and the things that you do, but apparently I am wrong. And then I like my wrongness in the fact that I am able to learn more about what you do. Normally on the show, what we do is when we have our guests, either me or Sainabu will go and learn about the person a lot. The other one have to learn on the show, just like the audience, so that you're as just to make sure there's a naturality on that. And for your case, because I knew I was the likelihood of me alone hosting was that, so I was like, I'm not gonna make so much research. I want to learn with the audience, and then I am hoping that they equally learning as I am learning. And then I am hopeful that they're gonna take a lot of stuff from here. That no matter what your challenges are or whatever you think would be your challenges. If you put your mind to it, you can definitely work towards it and you can definitely achieve a lot of things. And I think that is the most important thing.
That's
right?
the most important thing.
Most important
Yeah, because if you put the money is important, but if you always want to put your first focus on money, you will lose out. Yeah. So you put your plan in, have everything in line, the money will come.
Oh yes.
Yeah. That's it.
And for that, I want to say thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much, Matan.
It's always an honor to have you. You're our first guest we have to interview this way. And I think the audience will love it, and I think that the fact that you chose to be the guest on our 11th episode, and the fact that you chose to do all the amazing things you're doing both in the Gambia, Morocco here, because some things that we did not highlight on the show is the fact that you have been chosen as a speaker in countries like programs that are happening in Indonesia, programs that are happening in even yesterday.
Egypt.
You have been invited as a speaker in events happening in Europe, Asia, Africa. At your age, and at the you're mixing it with school, it goes a long way of saying your personality. And I want to commend your dad also for being so supportive and the things that he's been doing. I think what we do not have, some of us, is the kind of parent you have, and also the kind of motivation you have.
The parent can be there, but some people can have like rich parents, but the motivation is not there. So it has to come from you.
That's exactly what I was driving.
No matter how, no matter where, you can be very, very broke, but you can create it for yourself.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going to come to, because if you have been a fan of the show, you realize that, and I'm talking to the audience, you realize that we've had guests who all of them have different backgrounds with their parents.
Yeah.
But if you observe all of our guests, they all have similar motivation. They all have similar goals that they want to achieve, and all of them is centered on how best do I give back to society,
Exactly.
how best can society be better. So challenge yourself, you too. How best do you want to better your life? How best do you want to better the community that you live in? How best do you want to improve the people around you and the lives around you? If you can better yourself in those with our programs or you following other people, that is awesome because that is what we want as a people. That's how we want to see our communities grow in the near future. And once again, thank you so much, Hydra, for
Thank
being
you
here.
so much, Matar. Really honored to be here. I enjoyed our chat. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
So if you guys, thank you guys so much for being here on the show. I was your guest, Momodu Mukhtar Diallo. I am sure you guys enjoyed the show a lot, as I have, and then I am hoping that you guys join us on the next one. Like I said, this is a recorded version of the show. We are preparing it this Monday as it is happening right now. And next week, instead of every 2 weeks, we're gonna have our next guest. I am still tempted to tell you who the guest is, but I will not. I will keep it a surprise. All I can say is we're having another interesting guest who will tell us other things that we do not know on the areas of photojournalism, on the areas of digital media, on the areas of young people taking up other initiative that people would say you cannot do it, you cannot do it. We don't have the resources. It's gonna be like Hydra, our guest today, who do not wait for resources to come. They go and search for the resources and then they get the things done. So on that note, I hope you too get out there. Don't wait for the resources. Go and get your own resources. Go and make whatever you want to make. Better your life, better the lives of the people around you, and then ignore all the negative energy. Until then, bye bye and see you on the next one.